What a head, son! What a head!
The striker, probably the most popular position in the game. Every kid dreams of scoring goals, and there's no other role in the game where you'll be more likely to score. Throughout the history of the game, there's been hundreds of just outrageous strikers. Players you would either end up loving or fearing, as they went into each game just destined to score. The guys who could change the outcome of a game all by themselves. Over the past 5 years, this sentiment still remains, as there's been some phenomenal strikers. Strikers such as Erling Haaland, Karim Benzema, Kylian Mbappe, Robert Lewandowski, and Harry Kane. It'd be hard to argue that these players aren't some of the greatest strikers the game has had to offer over the past 5 years. But who has really been the best striker over the past 5 years? Is there a statistical way of determining the best striker? And if it could be statistically determined, would it be one of these guys? Or could it be someone completely unexpected?
Still, Alisson didn't get there, in comes Valverde, Benzema! Then the flag goes up. The Real Madrid celebrations come to an end and Liverpool feel a great sense of relief.
To determine the best striker over the past 5 years, some parameters have to be set. Only the top 10 goal scorers of the past 5 seasons will be selected. Also, only players from the top 5 leagues will be selected, with just their performances in those top 5 leagues used to determine their ability. So their Champions League and domestic cup appearances won't be counted, and their time outside the top 5 leagues won't be counted either. For example, Teemu Pukki only makes the top 10 goal scorer list in the 21-22 Premier League season. In all of his other seasons, he's outside that bracket. However, despite only having one appearance in the top 10, he qualifies for this experiment. However, just because he only makes one appearance in the top 10 once, doesn't mean he will only be judged on that season alone. All his other performances over the past 5 years in the top 5 leagues will be accounted for.
This is the Arsenal, the first 20 minutes, it's Smith Rowe. It's Aubameyang! It's 2-0! By Arsenal standards this season, they are running riot.
Another good example is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The ex-Arsenal striker has made appearances in the top 5 leagues for 3 different clubs over the past 5 years. And he's also made the top 10 goal scorer list in 3 different leagues in that time. Arsenal in 19-20, Barcelona in 21-22, and Marseille in 23-24. Aubameyang's performances in all 3 leagues over the past 5 years will be accounted for. The only players who will be looked at are true strikers or centre forwards, so no players who spent the majority of their time as a winger or a central attacking midfielder. So that means players such as Salah, Son, Kevin De Bruyne, and Serge Gnabry will not be considered, despite the fact that they've appeared multiple times in the top scorers list over the past 5 years.
Down the line for Joe Linton, the cut back towards Wilson! Alan Wilson doubles Newcastle's lead!
So what makes a great striker? Well, the most obvious attribute a striker must have is the ability to finish. To be one of the greatest strikers of all time, a player must be able to score the chances that they've been given. A good way to determine the finishing ability of a striker is to examine the amount of non-penalty goals that they've scored versus their non-penalty XG. What does XG mean? Well, XG stands for expected goals. It's a metric which determines the quality of chances a player has had to score. If a player has a high XG, it means that they've had a lot of chances with a high likelihood of a goal being scored. If a striker scores more goals than their expected goals over a long period of time, say 5 years, it tends to be a good indicator that they're a good finisher. For example, Harry Kane scored 104 non-penalty goals over the past 5 years. His total non-penalty XG over the past 5 seasons has been 86.6. This means he has a score of 17.4, which is very high. Darwin Núñez, on the other hand, has scored 20 non-penalty goals in the top 5 league in the same amount of time. His non-penalty XG is 27.6. This means his XG is minus 7.6. If you want to compare these players, we have to take into account how many 90s or minutes that they've played. That way it's actually truly fair. When we do this, we see that Kane is a much better finisher than Darwin Núñez. To compare all these strikers, their Z-scores were found. This is a way of quantifying exactly just how one player did versus all the other 139 strikers. I could go into all the map, but that would just get boring. So what players have been the best finishers over the past 5 seasons?
Wriggling away from Ake and fiddling through a beautiful pass. It's a wonderful Argentina goal. Molina pounced. Messi cut them in half. And the rest was simple.
Although the main role of a typical number 9 is to score goals, it can be very important that they create chances for the cast around them. Sometimes that might even be their main role. For example, Roberto Firmino was a striker who was expected to link up play and provide chances for the wingers Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane either side of him.
Real brilliance from Roberto Firmino, knowing exactly when to release the ball, knowing exactly the pace of the pass to go into the path of Sadio Mane.
Well, how can a player's ability to provide chances be determined statistically? Similar to XG, there's a metric known as XA, or expected assists. This stat takes into account the likelihood of each completed pass becoming a goal. A player with a high XA over an extended period of time suggests that they provide a large amount of high quality chances for their teammates. When it comes to comparing players' XA, it's a good idea to find how high their XA is per 90, as some players may have more minutes under their belt. So knowing this, which strikers are the best at creating chances?
Pay homage if you respect how we came up. I was on the end. I was on the end. Then a pack of them. Then I was on the end. I was on the end. Then a pack of them. Then I was on the end. I was on the end. Then a pack of them. Then I was on the end. I was on the end. I was on the end, jogging in a pack of them. Then I was on the end. I was on the end. Then a pack of them. Then I was on the end. I was on the end. I was on the end, jogging in a pack of them. Then I was on the end. I was on the end. Then a pack of them. Then I was on the end.
For him. Is outside him. He's gone for it, he's done it! Harry Kane celebrates his 100th goal for Tottenham.
Okay, so this seems very similar to finishing, but it's actually very different. So a player may have poor finishing, but they still may have a large amount of goals. This could be down to the fact that they may miss a lot of really good chances, but they get so many of these really good chances that they still manage to get a large amount of goals. For example, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has 57 non-penalty goals over the past 5 years, which is quite a lot, but his finishing score is 56.9, which puts him 58 out of 139 strikers. This can mean two things. Either he's playing on a great team, which keeps giving him great chances, and he keeps missing, or the striker's movement and positioning is just so good that they keep providing him with these great chances. It can be difficult to decipher between the two, but it's definitely worth having a look at. To determine a player's goal scoring, it's as simple as dividing their non-penalty goals by the amount of 90s that they have under their belt. So with all that being said, who are the best goal scorers?
feet by Mbappe. Oh, what a goal! What a sensational goal! Well, he might be a Galactico next season, but he's the toast of Paris tonight. Brilliant feat. What a finish.
Dribbling is by far one of the most exciting attributes a player can have. And for a striker, it can be extremely useful. It can help them slip past players in order to create a goal scoring chance for either themselves or the players around them. One of the best ways to see just how good a player is at beating their man is successful take-ons. This is simply found by taking the amount of successful take-ons a player has versus their total take-ons. Over the past 5 years, there's been many strikers who have been phenomenal dribblers. And these are the guys who are most successful at it.
In from Alexandro, and what about that? From Cristiano Ronaldo. Towering header to make it 10 for the season and put Juve back in front.
What a header that is from Cristiano Ronaldo.
Heading is another great attribute for a striker. It can be used either to score goals or win possession high up the pitch and bring other advanced players into the game. To find if a player is strong in the air, we can use a stat known as aerial duels. This is simply calculated by taking the amount of aerial duels a player has won, and then dividing it by their total aerial duels. So with that being said, which strikers really are the best in the air?
Wall correctly positioned. It's going to be Vlahovic with the left foot. Strikes it well and scores brilliantly.
A free kick can be an amazing opportunity to score a goal, especially when you have a dead ball specialist on your side. It may not be a skill that every striker needs, but it's definitely a bonus if the main man up top has it in his locker. To determine if a player has a quality free kick, it's good to look at the amount of goals that they've scored from a free kick and then divide it by the amount of shots that they've taken from a free kick. So knowing this, who can hit a mean free kick.
Isn't it?
I can't explain it. I got a feeling that I can't erase. Just a feeling that I want it behind it because it's something that is on. It's on my mind, and I guess it goes like na 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 na.
Didier Drogba, I'm going to say it now. It is written in the stars.
He's done it! The greatest night in the history of Chelsea Football Club. European champions. They've beaten Bayern in their own backyard.
Penalties are very similar to that of free kicks, in the sense that it's not crucial that your striker takes a penalty, but it certainly helps if they can. The best way to determine if a striker is good at penalties is by taking the amount of goals that they've scored from the spot, and then dividing it by the amount of penalties that they've attempted. So which striker can keep their cool from 12 yards out?
Move again. Marquinhos with more defending. Oh, he's done it! Karim Benzema again! It's a hat-trick! It's straight from the kick-off and scored another one! The greatest club side in this competition's history have dug so deep tonight, and Karim Benzema's had a night to remember.
So we've seen what attributes a striker needs to perform their role. However, not all attributes are created equal. It's quite clear to see that a striker's ability to finish is more important for their role than something like dribbling. That's why when it comes to summing up a player's total score, it's important that we put more emphasis on a player's ability to finish and create chances than their ability to win a header or dribble past a player. That's why a weighting system is used. So we have 7 attributes, and all of them have been ranked from most important to least important. This determines exactly how much a player's score for a certain skill is multiplied by. Once all the scores of a player's attributes have been multiplied by their respective weights, they are all summed together. This gives the player's total overall score. For example, Dutch striker Memphis Depay scored 78.8 for finishing, 99.2 for chance creation, 78.7 for goal scoring, 77.8 for dribbling, 21.4 for heading, 14.7 for free kicks, and 76.2 for penalties. Each of these scores were then multiplied by their respective weighting, and then they were all summed up together to give the player's overall score, which in this case for Memphis Depay is 2005.1. So after doing this for all 139 strikers, which strikers have been the worst over the past 5 years?